So this system is fairly new. It is in application since the 20th of November 2022. And this system introduces the 4-day week instead of 5, as previously said. So how does it work? Basically, it means that employees can work their full-time job in the span of 4 days instead of 5, getting one more free day during the week. The day that will be free has to be determined by the employers and the employee. It can be any day as long as the hours are identical and fixed. So if an employee works a 38-hour per week, so then it's 9 hours, 30 minutes per day maximum. If the contract is a 39-hour contract, then it's 9 hours, 45 minutes per day. And for the 40-hour contract, it's 10 hours per day. So how to set it up? First, it's very important to say that this system is not mandatory, neither for the employer nor for the employee. Let's talk about the different steps to set it up. So first, it's the employer's choice. The employer decides if the company will implement the new system or not. And if they decide to do so, they must make some changes. So if they use a 38-hour setting, they just need to change the company work rules to insert the new system in it. If the company uses a 39 or 40-hour setting, then the new system must be implemented by a CLA, which is a collective labor agreement. It's agreement between employers or employees' companies, organizations, and employees or trade unions about, for example, the wages, working hours, etc. So it must be introduced by a CLA, and then the work rules must be changed by a simplified procedure. Then the employee that is interested by the new system must submit a written request. The employer then has a month to decide whether he accepts it or not, and to let the other party know. If it's not accepted, the employer has to give a valid reason and write it down officially. It's important that those requests are written. The employer must keep all the documents as proof for 5 years, as they could be controlled to verify if everything was done according to the rules. Once the system is set up in the work rules, the employers and the employee must agree on the terms and conditions and on the flexibility. Before the system starts, the two sides must conclude a written agreement. Each application must receive a written, an individual agreement. So there is three important documents in setting up the new system. The work rules, it's in the work rules that the employer defines the general framework of the new model. The individual agreement, this is where the specific arrangement for each employee will be set up. For example, one employee could start working early, the other one could start working later. One employee's day off could be a Tuesday, another employee could have the Friday as a day off, etc. All these settings are determined in the individual agreement. And then the employee's contract. Once the request is validated by the employer and the written agreement is made, the employee's contract will have the additional clause for the 4-day week. And this clause is active for 6 months and is renewable. This system, however, does not apply to everyone. The ones who are not affected by this are the public sector workers, employees in managerial positions, domestic workers, commercial representatives, trusted persons, and generally the social cultural sector. It is the employee that must ask the employer for this accommodation. The employer cannot ask the employee to use the 4-day week. Oh, sorry. And what if the employer realizes that the new system doesn't work for them? Well, to end this agreement, both sides have to agree. Either the employee finishes the 6 months but then does not renew it, or they can decide to stop it and cancel the supplementary clause that is in the contract. 3 things that are to be thought of because it is important in Belgium. It's teleworking, public holidays, and meal vouchers. So teleworking can be implemented during working days. For public holidays, the federal government service stated that if a public holiday falls on a day that the employee doesn't work, so the 5th day of the week, the employee has to receive a free day. But the opinion of the federal government service is not explained, so it's not clear, and it would be discrimination against other employees. This is a question on which there are still doubts, and it remains to be seen how the case law will apply and will develop in individual cases. For meal vouchers in Belgium, you can receive 1 meal voucher either per working day or per certain number of working hours. If the company uses the first setting, then the employee receives 4 meal vouchers instead of 5. If it is the second setting, then nothing changes. Are there any concrete examples of this new system? Well, no. Securex, one of the largest social secretariats in Belgium that deals with office administrative works, has conducted a survey, and less than 1% of Belgian workers uses the new system. However, the main cause for this result might be the fact that it's too early. They stated that 2023 might be the year for employees to consider using the new system. So we don't have examples, but we do have opinions. So what does Synergie Wallonie think about this system? The reduction of working days will not restrict either the hours or the workload. The hours worked over 5 days will in fact be condensed into 4 days. Can we therefore speak of a collective reduction of working time? A reduction of work? Certainly not. Even less so a collective one, since only the private sector is concerned. We align ourselves with the demands made by Soralia, which is a Belgian feminist solidarity movement. Here's what we mean by collective reduction of working time. A pure and simple reduction of working time from 38 hours to 32 hours per week for a full-time worker. Compensatory hiring to avoid an overload of work on the shoulders of workers who would have to do in 4 days what they are obliged to do in 5 days. And the maintaining of the salary in its entirety. Working more than 9 hours for 4 days is unrealistic. It is incompatible with schedules of schools, nurseries, etc. And once again, the realities and working conditions of women are ignored. Consequently, this reform could further have a negative impact on them. We know that it is women who, for the most part, do the domestic work and bear the parental burden. The lack of recognition of unpaid work, commuting time, and even free time will lead us straight to burnout. So in order to work less to live better, it is urgent to reconsider the work system as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Harlar.